Hi everyone, welcome to Raising Vibrations with myself, Simon, the astrology channel where we talk about ascension and astrology and how we as human beings are going through this process and healing humanity. Today we're going to be speaking about the Sagittarius full moon and a couple of the aspects that are happening in the sky at this point in time, and to cover some deep little truths relative to letting go. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you at this point in time is because it's a really big process that we are having to go through, quite frankly, during this period of time of ascension, of total transformation, of spiritual awakening, and just, you know, overall sort of like raising our frequencies, our vibrations. So there's the purging process, there's the letting go process, there's the flushing out of old, outdated frequencies that are no longer serving us anymore. And so this is a very, very deep and clear video that I've created to try and capture that point across and to try and like let everybody know how we go about this process. Okay, now the first thing that I wanted to share quickly is the picture that I have on the screen over there, which is you can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. I think that this is a really good message to kind of capture what's happening with us at this point in time, at least, you know, spiritually. And this is that we are getting all these opportunities with these intense energy and planetary alignments, you know, where these frequencies are pushing us in directions and forcing us to do this, and there's turmoil and there's breakups and there's change and there's, you know, security, and the world's changing and everything's just going a bit crazy. And at the end of the day, it's like we're being stuck, we are literally stuck in this turmoil of this stuff. And I think that what I'm trying to say with that picture on the left hand side over there is that we've got to learn how to just, you know, ride the wave of transformation. We've got to get with the program. We have to jack ourselves up, get ourselves into that space and start acknowledging what's happening at this point in time, and just move more fluidly with the energy patterns that are happening at this stage, so that we can learn to, as it says over there, learn how to surf, learn how to move along with these energies, how to be more adaptable, how to be more interchanging, as it were, during this period of time. So that's basically what I'm actually doing with my whole work as well, with all the articles that I've been writing and the information that I've been sharing on my YouTube channel, is literally to try and get us in sync and to help along with this ascension process, which ultimately is just bringing your higher self, your inward self, and your actual physical 3D body just all together and making that present in this world, and showing and sharing your natural organic light, you know, who you truly are, getting to that space and then vibrating from that space and only allowing that vibration to be what the world sees of you. So this letting go process again is associated with you being your natural self and expressing your natural self. Okay, so that's the introduction video. Sorry, not video, pardon me. I've got the Mercury retrograde at the moment, so bear with me, guys. But that's the introduction message that I'm sharing with you right now. We're going to go over to the astrology, and yeah, I hope that you enjoy what I'm about to share with you. As always, I love to teach about the nature of the cycle, so it's not just going to be about blabbing on about, you know, astrological symbols. It's going to be about actually understanding the nature of full moons and so on and so forth. So let's get over to that right now. Guys, here we go, and this is where I'm going to begin today. So the phases of the moon. As we know, we're on the full moon, okay? And when we're looking at the full moon, what we are looking at is the cycle that the moon has gone, where it is in opposition with the sun, obviously, right? But from a symbolic representation and in terms of the cycles that are taking place, there's a lot more to it. You know, there's a deeper aspect that exists within this program. And so what I'm going to try and illustrate over here is some aspects that the moon makes during its 30-day cycle. Okay, now I have not added all of them in. I've just added the four main aspects that it makes, but there are in-between aspects as well, but they are very minor in my opinion relative to this. So the first thing that I want to do to kind of capture your imagination, to try and make you help you understand with this, is that when the moon is on a new moon phase, in other words, when the new moon is taking place, okay, it is basically planting the seeds, okay? It is a birthing process of a new cycle. It is literally the process in which the moon is completely and utterly fresh and it is preparing itself for a new 30-day cycle. Okay, very simple, and I'm sure that everybody understands that already from that experience. But what that means when we're trying to understand the nature of what the moon cycle is doing from a symbolic representation, it is essentially, in terms of the story, okay, giving us an idea of what the next 30 days are going to be like and how we actually go about understanding and synchronizing ourselves with those frequencies, with those energy patterns, with those lessons, with those awarenesses that will be represented. So in this particular instance, as an example, I will take the new moon, and let's say it's in Gemini, okay? When the new moon is in Gemini, we know that for the next 30 days, there will be a large emphasis, okay, on us being aware or getting the opportunity to be aware of gathering information, seeing different opinions, understanding diversity, looking at communication, etc., etc. Now, if I had to sort of zoom out one level, you would see that there would be a specific synchronicity with regards to the new moon being in Gemini, okay? So whenever the new moon exists, it's literally planting the seeds. And the energy pattern that is associated with the new moon is one of total freedom, okay? It is one where there is no existence of what the experience is like in front of us. It doesn't exist. So it's a total freedom moon experience. There is nothing. So we're just about to start the journey, okay? So as the moon moves happily across the sort of zodiac, it gets to a 90-degree angle, okay? And when it gets to this 90-degree angle, we have what is called the first quarter, okay? And this is a crisis in action square. So when the moon was in a full moon basis, when it was in the new moon, it would have been at 0 degrees, okay? Right? Fresh. And then it would have moved 90 degrees from its original position. And in those 90 degrees, there would have been some information, some understanding, some awarenesses that would have been brought to us during that period of time. Okay, the first quarter moon correlates to a crisis in action square in which we get this opportunity to kind of like take all the information that has been, you know, kind of felt and become aware of, whatever themes are happening in your life. And what we do is we kind of look into that type of energy, and we feel that we want to action these new awarenesses that we've received, but we kind of can't do it yet because there's a sense of security that is linked, like an inner security that is linked to it. So when we have a crisis in action first quarter 90-degree moon, right, what will happen is that we'll have a sort of, like I said, wanting to move forward but taking a step back because we're unsure of that process. The moon will then happily travel another 90 degrees till the full moon, okay? Now the phase of the moon that is full in this conversation and in our way of understanding how full moons work are like this. It is an opposition, okay, to the sun. It is an opposition to where it originally was at the beginning when it started at the new moon. So in other words, the phase, the understanding, the relationship that we need to know when we're having a full moon is that we're looking at what is outside of ourselves, okay, and what information is being presented outside of ourselves, and where are we being opposed, and tuning in and understanding that opposition, okay, and then integrating it into our lives. So as an example, let's say, for instance, you started a company, that was the new moon, right? New, fresh, it's an idea. You go out and you gather all the information, you find your product, you start making connections with people and such, and then you get to the point of the first quarter square, which is, in this particular instance, a stage where you're unsure about how to go forward, but at the same time, you're still knowing that you want to go forward, you want to action something, but it's a little bit, difficult to do that. Well, when you get to the opposition, generally what happens, like I've explained, is that information comes to you outside of yourself that allows you to then integrate into your awareness, into your ideas of how to better your company, your business, etc., etc. So the full moon relates, and whenever you have full moons, relate to something that is outside, or the illusion at least, outside of yourself. Once you have that awareness, you then integrate it into yourself. Now, of course, while I'm actually chatting to you guys about this, I'm not really expecting you to understand completely what I'm saying. in the sense of what has this got to do with the astrology, but what I am putting out here is how, showing you how that when we are looking at the astrology chart, why we're looking at the symbols we're looking at and what is the message. So that's, again, another reason as to why I'm sharing with you guys this phases of the moon picture or diagram. So the full moon relates to an energy release, okay? And this energy release will be relative to the information that is being presented outside of yourself. You will always see an awareness outside of yourself. In other words, it will come through as another person's sharing some information or you being opposed by something, and it's kind of like letting you know that you need to integrate that, right? A perspective, a relative perspective. The moon will then travel all the way, okay, to what is called the 270 degree square, and this is a third quarter moon. And the way that this moon works is that it's traveled throughout the whole zodiac up till 270 degrees, and then we throw off everything. We liberate, we innovate, we take all the information that has been gathered on ourselves, and we, in a sense, throw it off as we try to integrate that into our lives. Okay, so there's an integration process relative to our own understanding. So we take all the conditioning, all the ways that people have given us information about how to do things, how we've gathered stuff, and we kind of throw it off and we say, right, this is what I intuitively feel. So when we have a third quarter moon in our phasal relationships, we generally go through a space where we throw off these ideas and we kind of intuit our own understanding of it. Now, what has this got to do with the whole process? Well, this is how the moon actually goes around the whole zodiac in 30 days, and relative to the theme that has been happening for that month, that is what the moon will be showing you. So as I said again, you might start your business at the new moon. You have a first quarter square where you try and integrate it, but you're still sort of unsure how to do it. Then you go to the full moon experience where you get information that's outside of yourself saying, hey, by the way, try it this way, try it that way. Still information coming outside of yourself. You're still trying to integrate it with yourself. And then when you get to the 270 degree aspect, or when the moon is at its third quarter square, right, relative to the original space that it was in, you then innovate it and throw it off. And so this is exactly what happens every single month. Whatever themes are happening in life, you'll go through these very clear and simple sort of cycles or cyclic patterns, as it were. So that's a little bit about the information on the moon and how those phases work. Okay, so I hope that was kind of clear. If it's not, it's probably because of the Mercury retrograde, but watch the video over again, or feel free to write to me in the comments below and I can help you out with that information. So here's the astrology chart relative to my message for the new moon. And there's kind of lots and lots of interesting things happening at this point in time. And so this is what I would like to share with you guys, okay? So the first thing that we're going to do is realize that there is a purging process. The base note here is that we are purging things. We're letting go. We're taking away stuff that we have been conditioned with, that we have been told to do, and we're letting go, and we're trying to liberate ourselves from these outmoded definitions, these outmoded understandings, these associations that we have been having in our lives, how we've defined stuff. You know, we're breaking free from those limitations. So this month's full moon, in the sense to me, is focusing on the core belief structure that exists within our security, and how we need to go about letting go and liberating that from our process. And the way that we're going to be doing this is a little bit of help with Saturn and our wonderful friend Venus. Okay, so the first thing that I want to do, as you now know that this is the base note of this discussion, it's about understanding how to let go of core beliefs. Okay, this is what I'm going to do. So firstly, we've got Saturn, okay, which is the shadow work and hidden truths. Okay, as you can see over there, and Venus in Taurus. Okay, Saturn, Scorpio, Venus in Taurus, and the Taurus or the Venus will relate to your inner relationship, your pattern, the conversation that you have to yourself, how you speak to yourself, that inner voice, that inner understanding, and then how you project that outwardly into the world. Okay, those projections will then relate to what type of people you draw into your life, etc., etc. So when you have Saturn opposing Venus in the context of this discussion about how to let go of these pre-existing patterns, okay, we have this opposition, right? So Saturn is creating a blockage outside of yourself, okay? And it's saying, hey, by the way, there is some shadow work that you need to do here. There's aspects of yourself that you are projecting into your reality, because Mars is in Libra at this point in time. So what are you projecting into your reality that people are triggering off about you, that are subconscious belief structures, that are subconscious truths, that are emotional attachments to your security, that are being challenged at this point in time. So whatever you think you value, whatever you think that is existing for you, that you hold on to dearly, is being projected into the outside, okay, subconscious, into reality. And then you are receiving resistance and blockages, Saturn, Scorpio, okay, right? And you're getting this opportunity with the opposition to see where it is that you are holding on to a belief structure that is not actually working for you, that is diminishing your value system, that is not allowing you to understand, okay, and to raise your frequency, to raise your vibration. So it's about a value system that is being challenged relative to some shadow work, some conditioning that you are holding on to at this point in time. So that's the first energy pattern that's happening at this stage. So that's the base notes of this conversation. Now, what's actually happening relative to some of the upheavals is this wonderful, fantastic little planet called Uranus, or Uranus. Now, Uranus in Aries has been causing quite a lot of nonsense with Pluto at the moment. Pluto in Capricorn, which of course Pluto ultimately at the end of the day is transforming all of our emotional attachments relative to the distortions that are outside of ourselves, destroying old patriarchal rule, as it were. And Uranus is helping along with this breaking free, this liberation process, this letting go, as it were. That's what Uranus will do. It will let go, it will break free, it will change perspective. So with Uranus and this point in time opposing Mars, we're having people pushing our boundaries, people stepping on our toes, we're stepping on other people's toes, and this creation is allowing us to project into our reality, throw up into our reality these hidden truths and shadow works and ways that you value yourself, etc., etc. All this nonsense and noise is being thrown into reality, and then you're getting this opportunity with Uranus making a square to Jupiter. Firstly, the square, as you can see there, it's the red line, okay, from Uranus, which is there, making a square all the way to Jupiter, which I've highlighted as inner security, that red line. It's squaring it. So whenever there's a square, and in this particular instance, it's also a crisis in action square, so we're still a little bit unsure about how to go about our process, how to go about our day. We're still trying to figure out how to actually integrate our internal security into our lives. So there's still some purging process that needs to take place over there at this point in time. So there's a lot of inner work that needs to be taken, a lot of inner reflection that needs to be taken, and I'll share with you guys exactly how that's actually working later on. But Uranus is making the square to Jupiter, and it's literally saying to us that our liberation needs to come from us stepping outside of our comfort zones, stepping out into the space where we feel a sense of vulnerability, but still at the same time know that it is our true selves that we are liberating, right, from the fear-based consciousness that is so attached to our security patterns. So again, you can see here that Saturn oppose Venus, which is the shadow work and outer inner relationships, is causing us to look inside of ourselves to find out where it is that our attachments are happening. Uranus square Jupiter is saying, okay, now we've got to find that inner security and let go of it. It's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel that there's an aspect of you that might feel this way. It's okay to do that. That's what that square is doing. Then the full moon, okay, which is a 22-degree Sagittarius, is making a trine to Uranus at this point in time. So if you look at Uranus and you look at the full moon, you can see I've got a blue line that's making the connection over there. And that's a really good thing, because Uranus and the full moon are kind of giving us this ease and sense of ease to understand what our beliefs might be representing, what our understanding of our security is being held within our beliefs. Okay, so there is going to be an energy pattern where it might feel a little bit easy to understand, to let go of, to feel it's okay to make myself free of these things. Now I want you to know that the moon and Cancer are the same archetypes. Okay, they both correlate to an inner identity, okay, your inner security. So if you look at the moon, which is in Sagittarius, Sagittarius is your belief systems, your experiential truth, making a square to making a connection to Uranus. You can see that there's a liberation factor that's being presented to you at this point in time. And then you can see the square to Jupiter, which is in Cancer, is the synchronicity, and it's saying, hey, you've got to develop that at that point in time so that you can take advantage of the full moon's like letting go and flushing out process. Okay, so the full moon in Sag, like I've said before, when you have a full moon, you obviously are opposing the sun, which you can see over there, which is in Gemini, right at the bottom of the charts. The sun looks like a little circle with a dot in it. So we are looking towards the sun outside of ourselves, remember full moon, outside of ourselves, for information in how to integrate the lessons and reflections that are associated with this full moon that is just recently, that is going to be taking place for us. Okay, so it's in Gemini, and we know that for the last month, Gemini, the sun in Gemini has been asking us to look at diverse ways of seeing our reality, to speak up, to share some information, to question some stuff, to shift our perspective and observe by asking questions, by allowing diversity to hold true for us at this point in time. Okay, but then it's also correlating to the mind at this stage, right? Because a lot of our truths and our inner understanding and our natural selves exist within our intuition, not our mental processes. So again, there's a lot of focus on how the mind, not the mind, but the mental processes have been working for us. The linear logical left brain processes have been working for us. So we've got to be answering those questions. We've got to be looking at how that conversation happens within us. Okay, so that's the kind of information that I can give you over there when it comes to how to integrate letting go of these outdated belief systems that are so intrinsically attached to our psychology, that is related to our shadow work, you know, parts of ourselves that are the noise that we still need to integrate within ourselves, that we still need to bring within ourselves, we still need to accept the shadow aspect of us. We question it, and then we understand through that process, so that we can transform Scorpio, our inner outer relationships, Venus, so that we can raise our frequency, raise our value systems, change our ways of conversing with ourselves, Gemini. You see this, where I'm going with this information. Okay, so now we've got Jupiter in Cancer, which of course has been the whole year story with us in terms of developing the home, in our inner security, re-establishing communities where we can feel safe and secure by people that are in the similar beliefs as us, etc., etc. And then, of course, at the end of the day, Jupiter is the same archetype as Sag. It's our natural selves, so we're connecting to our natural selves. And this is the whole process that is correlating to this belief system, that we are rinsing, we are letting go, we are purging all of the outdated belief systems that are associated with our reality and how we've seen the world. Okay? So at this point in time, if you have a look at Jupiter right at the bottom where I've said written in security, I've got a brown line and I've got another blue line that is connected to that. And they're all connected to the shadow work of hidden truths, which is Saturn and Scorpio. And again, we're getting that lots of information and lots of aspects that are helping us become aware of these belief systems so that we can let go of them, that we can work through them, that we can be vulnerable. It's okay. It's okay at this point in time. Now, with Mercury being retrograde at this point in time, and also a lot of the inner outer work that's needing to be taking place and shadow work, and we all know that this is all the stuff that's existing within us. We have to change ourselves during the ascension process. We can't change the outside world. It's not going to happen. You need to change within. So what is the universe doing at this point in time? It's giving us these fantastic little green lines called quincunxes, okay, 150-degree aspects. And these are really, really sort of like nasty aspects, but not really, okay? Because they're nasty because it kind of creates this thing where we need to do inner reflection, where it forces us in on ourselves to have to purge stuff, to let go of stuff, to refine ourselves. It's a Virgo archetype. So it's about looking within ourselves. And so we're going to probably find a lot of people that will be that we will be triggering. Okay, that will bring out, that will force us through a little bit of anger, a little bit of frustration, a little bit of being stuckness, as it were. They will force us to project out into our reality a truth that is not holding us our best interest at heart. We will feel humiliated through the experience. That humiliation will allow us to inner reflect so that we can let go of these pre-existing ego patterns. and so that we can liberate ourselves and we can move forward as the planetary system starts to shift into other aspects of this growing process that we are on. Okay, so is that clear? So the Jupiter and the Mercury function is asking you to go within yourself, ask yourself the questions, what it is that I'm doing over here. How can I change myself? What can I realize about myself that is not helping me here? These are all the questions that you ask yourself during this period of time, okay? Especially with this full moon, it's a great opportunity to reflect back on this. So I want to now show you guys the archetype of a core belief system, because to me, and the way that I understand our shadow work and our pre-existing patterns, is that we hold a core belief within ourselves that we then project into our reality. And so as we project that into our reality, we then see that, and that it defines who we are. So our belief systems, okay, that might be distorted because of some pre-existing conditioning pattern that we have got through as we've been growing up, that now need to be let go of, that need to be that are outdated. You know, things that you, let me give you an example of what I'm trying to say over here. You can you can say to yourself as, oh, I'm not good enough. That's a core belief within you that is telling you that you're not good enough. And so therefore you project it out into reality, not actually giving yourself the opportunity to understand that you are a spiritual being that is connected to source, that you have infinite consciousness within yourself, that you have the access and the true divine nature to be there, and for that divine organic natural expression to be part of yourself. And all you're doing at this point in time is purging all these negative belief systems that are holding you down, that are diminishing your value system. Okay, now it's difficult because the belief system is attached to a security, okay, that you value. So as an example, I'll take my own, speaking of astrology, there's something that I value in astrology at this point in time that is linked to my security, and so therefore it becomes my truth, and then I share it with the outside world, okay? But there's only my truth, that is only part of the truth. So when we're looking at letting go, Sagittarius, the truth of belief systems that you have attached yourself to on an unconscious level relative to conditioning, it is about security. There's something that you feel that you think it gives you security. And so you need to reevaluate that through these quincunxes, through this new moon that's taking place, this full moon that's taking place. See what aspect of yourself you might not be feeling vulnerable enough to share with. These are all the questions that you're asking yourself, because there is intrinsically something that you value relative to your belief system that gives you that security. And so an aspect of that needs to be questioned. Is that real security? Does it actually provide you that, or is it just a safekeeping to allow you to not progressively move forward and live in a state of vulnerability in some way, because that's how the universe works. It's very tough. I'm not saying that you can't just, that even myself, I have to purge away my own layers, and it's difficult, but it has to be done. It has to be done. And this has all got to do with the mind, all got to do with not the mind, but the linealogical left brain process that is attached to your that your spirit can, your brain, your mind, your linealogical consciousness in that sense cannot understand the nature of your Pisces, your spirit, your truth, because it is an abstract thing. It's something that exists in the other dimensions. So what you're letting go of is how your linealogical mind has put things together in a logical way to make you feel that there is an aspect of this truth belief system that is necessary. But really, is it really necessary? These are the questions that you're asking yourself. And so as you look at these value systems and security patterns, you get the opportunity to reflect on your truth. And so here again, I'm going to share with you the nature of why it is so difficult to let go, but it is really important. And all this information exists in the Zodiac, by the way, just to let you know. Okay. To let go of something means that you have to embrace the emotional attachment that is associated with it. So as an example, I can say that you purchased a doll, okay, when you were young, and you had so much fun and excitement, and that was great with the doll, and you've got these memories, but then slowly but surely you grow up and the doll becomes older and dirty, etc., etc. And so what you find yourself in is the situation where you have an emotional attachment to this thing relative to your belief, relative to your feelings, security, cancer, and you attach yourself to that, but then there's a part where you have to let go. You have to depart from that process, because that's how life works. When you attach yourself to something outside of yourself, inherently it will dissipate. So it is only within yourself, your true knowledge, your true understanding, your truth, your pursuit for what is, in a sense, only something that exists within, that cannot be taken away from you. And that is where true security lies. Everything outside of yourself is ephemeral. It can be destroyed. So death is part of this process of having to let go. And that's why it's such a difficult thing in terms of the emotional attachments. So when you let go of these belief systems that are intrinsically attached to the emotional side, that gives you a sense of security, okay, when you understand it through that process, when you see it through that process, you can get this opportunity to recognize that inner security and embracing the vulnerability, which is what I was talking about earlier in the Jupiter and Cancer lessons, and with Uranus making the square to Jupiter and saying that it's a little bit difficult because we want to trust, but something tells me it's not safe, etc., etc. You have to develop that security so that when you begin your new journey, when you stand in front of your liberated self and you integrate yourself and you move in the direction that your spirit is asking you to do, so that you're no longer defining yourself by these old, outdated predefinitions, then you get this opportunity for new beginnings where the freshness of everything lies in front of you. And of course, that is exactly, the thing that will create that vulnerability, because intrinsically within our consciousness there is a sense of feeling vulnerable, a sense of anxiety, and a sense of non-security when we begin something new. Because as the birthing process happened, you left the womb, which is where everything was safe and secure, out into the big world, okay, and you got shown no security. So you intrinsically go straight to the mother, right, to the breast, straight to the mom, so that you can recreate that sense of security. And so you consciously, all of us will be searching for that new security as we are birthing our new process, our new selves. So make friends with it, allow the vulnerability to come in, allow the sense of anxiety to be there, and replace it with the idea of excitement, so that you can search and begin the new journey with awesomeness and fantasticness and the new you that exists within this process. I hope that's really, really clear in terms of my message over there, guys. I'm going to pop over to the other screen now and speak a little bit about what I've just mentioned over here. Okay, so see you soon. Yeah, so that was the astrology for this new moon. I really, really hope that there was a lot of information in there that was really clear and you guys can understand. Again, that's exactly what I was trying to say about the belief systems and the attachments associated with it, and how to actually liberate, how to cleanse, how to purify, how to let go. There is obviously those words that are associated with it at this point in time. There is going to be anxiety, but it is actually excitement. There is that sense of security that you're going to have to develop within yourself. And then, of course, learning how to surf the waves instead of feeling that you're just going to be overwhelmed by these frequencies that are asking you to change, to purge, to let go, and to really step into your own organic light in that sense. All right. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching the video. I really, really hope that was insightful, like I said, and educational in every way whatsoever. If you enjoyed the content, please hit the like and subscribe button. That would be greatly appreciated. I love all the new subscribers and everybody that's joining the channel. I really, really hope that it is actually helping you out. Check out the YouTube channel. There's lots of information over there, free stuff. And of course, if you're interested in actually booking a guidance session with myself, come over to my website, simonvorster.com. The link is in the description, including on that over there. And look at the prices and the services that I offer. I highly recommend actually booking a Skype or a Google Hangouts session with myself. I limit a lot of my astrology jargon so that it's more about a conversation with you guys. And of course, a lot of it is about focusing on how this is personally affecting you during this period of time as well. So I highly recommend booking a guidance session with myself so that we can do energy clearing work on you. And if you're, sort of working more towards having more sessions with myself, I do offer them the discounts afterwards as well on that. All your sessions with myself are recorded, so that's given to you straight away as well, and a lot of chart analysis and other sort of fun tools to go about this process, so that I can literally set you free into the world, so that you can shine your organic light and show the rest of us exactly who you are and what you are, and bring that true sense of identity to the world. All right. Okay, guys, thanks very much for listening, and take care. Bye-bye.